Welcome to Turning Inward. Our intention today is to open your heart and nurture your spirit as you travel on the road without miles, moving inward on your epic and personal journey of self-discovery. I am Rebecca Polvey, your co-host, and I'm here with Dr. Vivian Carrero. This is the 5th episode of our fall 2014 season. We are excited to continue to share concepts from Love Being Human with you and grateful that you are here with us. Today we'll be exploring the concept of courage together.
This podcast offers you the opportunity to explore new perspectives through compelling interviews with beautiful human beings and words of wisdom and love. This show was created to guide and inspire you. If you're looking for more meaning in your day-to-day life, if you're looking to be wowed by everyday people, if you're on a journey to joy, peace of mind, freedom, or a wild new adventure, then honey, you are in the right place. Welcome to Turning Inward with Dr. Vivian.
Hello, Miss Rebecca.
Hello, Vivian. How are you?
Well, as you can tell from my voice, I am getting over a cold. But when I listen, maybe I'll sound sexy.
Yes, exactly. I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you so much.
Well, and I've been excited about this particular one, courage, and I never could quite figure out why. Maybe that'll come to me today while we're talking about it. So when you said we were going to talk about courage, I had so many thoughts going into my head, I almost didn't know where to start. So then I thought, you know what? I think I'll look in the dictionary and see what the definition of courage is.
That's a great place to start. I used to do that a lot.
Yeah. I thought, wow, I can't get started here. And it says that the quality of mind or spirit that enables a person to face difficulty, danger, pain, etc. without fear and bravery. And I thought, I think that really is perfect as it applies to love being human. Almost like, for me, it came like this is the underpinning or the foundation, of the love being human journey. And that's my impression. I feel courage is when you step outside of your comfort zone and you're just trusting the outcome of the unknown. So that came to me first as far as courage, and I just wonder, what is courage to you? Does that sound like what you're thinking of?
Well, I'll tell you what how I'm holding courage right now. Because, with everything we change as we evolve and grow and learn more and more. But what I loved about the definition that you just read to us is quality of mind. I think that you're right. That is the underpinning, because love being human is an invitation to train your mind. Because, as I've said before, we limp along with our intellect. It's just a tiny little, thing, and we really have to open our hearts and expand our heart and our heart intelligence into our actions. But the only thing I didn't agree with on that definition is without fear. I don't think that courage and fear are opposites. I think that courage and fear are dance partners, and they kind of salsa, go back and forth together. And so courage is when you sit or you face or you listen to your fear. Because one of the things that's been coming a lot, we've both had family and friends visiting, is the idea that you need to be fixed, or that you need to learn more, or that you need to be somewhere you aren't right now, came up a lot for me. And I actually had my own little epiphany and aha moment and said, because I'm a geek by choice. I love to sort of gather information, is that we already know. I feel like I just got a little bit off track, but fear and courage are dance partners. And so when you sit and you listen to your fear, That is courage. When you remember, and then you forget again, and then you remember, and you sit in the reality of where you are with both those things, is when courage and clarity really come up to the surface. So I think that's what courage tastes and feels and looks like for me right now. Is having, the fortitude to sit and listen, and then that softens into our being. And that, like you said, is the underpinning of love being human.
Oh, that's beautiful. And so is that what you mean, Vivian, when you say the harmony and integration of difference? I heard you say that once, the harmony and integration of difference.
Yes, because we think that we are either good or bad. We walk along in this world as if you can be one thing or the other. And you're not. You're both. And you're and. And that's why one of my favorite teachings that I always go back to is yes and. Yes and, what is this opportunity or this moment or this experience offering me, and what can I learn from it, or what else is it bringing to me? There's I think we're in the habit of slicing away at the broader reality of everything and only focusing in on that little peephole that we think is knowledge, or that we think is how we see. And we open ourselves up to a broader perspective, we see the harmony of everything. When we lift ourselves up out of our own view and look at it from a bird's eye, we can see we just see the different layer of the world. The tree no longer looks as tall as it is from the ground because you're looking at it from the sky, or it doesn't feel as far away as it looks because you're walking towards it. So harmony with what is going on in the moment right now, instead of pushing it away or trying to strive towards something in order to be somewhere else. We have I think a habit of a phrase that says, when this happens I will, or if this then that. And that's just not the integration of our lives. That's the either dragging along a past that left us a long time ago, or running towards a future that isn't here now. So harmony and integration of where you are right this second. So there is no difference. There is an unfolding and almost like a hug, and I can't say the word right now, but you envelop, you bring in those things.
Vivian, when listening to you talk about that, I was really reflecting on how I feel that each day, life it's possible it can hand us a series of challenges. Some of them can be big ones, and some can just be really small, everyday little detail things. And I think it's, for me, how we face those challenges is what allows us to go on, or maybe a better word is go forward, or take a different approach. And some of us give in and maybe just really don't feel they can handle it, and others rely on maybe a higher spirit, or maybe it's that courage and keep moving. And so for me, that's courage. And courage is when you dare to be different, or have a different opinion, or to look beyond maybe what your peers are doing. And I think it just takes courage to consider, to trust the philosophy of love being human. That's what when I hear you talking, I think we have to select to have courage and to trust to try something new.
Yes. New, different, and trusting. I think one of the things that you said just now made me think of what our sort of natural or habit reaction is, and that's to move away from, to distract, or to numb with whatever activity or preference or whatever is your sort of go away from habit, and having the courage to open yourself, to be tender, and to see what's going on, what the reality of the whole situation is. Yes, I think that I agree with you.
Well, and I wonder if it's how do we do that? Like I think you mentioned synchronizing your mind and body. How does that happen? What's the process for that? Or how can we feel when that might be happening?
Well, when your mind and your body are in the same place. Love being human is like we said, the harmony and the integration of our feelings, our breath, our feelings in our body, our breath, and the stillness that we create to bring those together. So it helps us to train our minds, but also to develop our attention. And like I said, our intellect limps along. But when we offer it a tender heart and an open heart, then we start to develop a really deep reverence and a respect for what is right now without wanting to change it. And that could be a very joyful moment, a very happy moment, or it could be, in a moment of suffering. It's not wanting something different than what is right this second. And just exploring and knowing, trusting your own experience. And the bottom line to all of that, and the simple message in Love Being Human is a self-awareness of self-knowledge. The life unexplored. I don't remember who said that. But knowing who we are. We reach and we grasp and we run towards, the top 10, the, secret answer, and none of those things outwardly are going to give us the peace and the comfort that we will find when we start to turn ourselves inward. And that's the whole premise and purpose of the podcast, is what is our own practice, yours, mine, and every individual that's listening, that will bring you home. What is the full expression of your soul? What is your joy? For some, that can be singing. For others, it can be prayer or meditation, a contemplative practice. Or it can be a relationship. So finding our own simple practices in our everyday lives that are going to bring that harmony and that integration to our moments and our daily living.
I also feel when I think about courage, that it's needed at times to do like what you're just saying, what you're mentioning, like allowing the spirit of love. You have to be able to allow that to weave its way through your heart and through your soul, and then be open that to explore a new or a different way of thinking, to take a step back and take a look at it, and not to be afraid to do that. To see what resonates with you. There's sometimes, I think, an aha moment.
Yeah, an aha moment. And for everyone it's different. I was going to share a quote, but when you said an aha moment and for everyone it's different, that's so on point. I think for some it's a true transformation. It's a melting and a rebuilding, like a caterpillar completely melts and then becomes a butterfly. Or it can be an alchemy, a removing of impurities in a metal that then turns it into a totally different constitution. The transformation for everyone is different. But the quote that I thought of sharing, that I was so excited trying to interrupt you, is one from Rumi that says exactly what you were alluding to, is don't surrender your loneliness too quickly. Let it season you as few ingredients can. Because we run from our pain and our fear, and we don't allow it to change us.
Well, I wonder if I can share a personal experience that I had, like an aha moment, if
Of
that would be okay,
course.
Vivian.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I had something that just, I had some, just some very troubling things that took place through my childhood that I was trying to get some help for. And I'll never forget, one day the counselor looked at me and said to me, and maybe they say this all the time, but to me, that was that aha moment that I looked like I had my back against the closet door and I was holding it, trying to hold it shut, both arms and my back and my legs. And the suggestion was to me, why don't you just take a look at what's in that closet and try to find spots for it in boxes up on the shelf and sort it and close that door and only open it up and look in there when you feel like you need to go do it. And when he described me that way, I was like, wow, I knew in that moment that that is exactly how I appeared. I knew I did. I felt it. I knew he was exactly right. Maybe I didn't want to own that or actually at that moment, but at the same time, I knew he was right. And I knew that I needed to take a look and take a different approach. It made a huge difference. And I changed going forward from that moment. I needed to learn some skills to do that, which is where that brings me back to the love being human. That I feel like when I hear so much of this, it really resonates with me, and shows me, how to take a different look at things. I guess that's what point I was getting at.
Yes, definitely. And then I love the imagery in the sort of the skeletons in the closet, and it bulging and you holding it closed. But when you stopped, trying to push it away,
I didn't want to let go of all of that.
Yeah, the more I've heard from many teachers and many talks that what you resist persists, and what you sort of push on gives it power. And so
Exactly.
so the less influence, I guess, you give that fear, the more courage you can have to face it. And you don't want to do that. You probably have your own tools, but for me, meditation and stillness and just awareness of my emotions when I'm happy help me to sort of bring an attention to when I'm not in a state of joy or in a state of peace. And I start to I call it, give it a long tail. I start to sort of sense when I'm a little bit off and catch it. Because when I'm in the middle of it, there is no amount of willpower that will keep you from your reaction.
It's true. We're just only human.
We just
we're just
only human, and we want to embrace the fullness of our humanity, the pain and the pleasure. You can't have one without the other, and I think that's why, there is an integration of difference. They go together. You can't have the sun come up without the moon going down,
I agree. I agree. I have to say that I also agree that the dictionary definition is not exactly what I believe, but it was a good starting point.
It's always a good starting point, and there's one thing that the dictionary definition brings to mind for me, and that's we can find a word in the dictionary and sort of agree on a term, a common definition for it. But in reality, there's never anything that is the same for everyone. If I'm looking at my kitchen table right now, and when I say kitchen table, I am imagining and looking at what is in front of my eyes. But for every single person that hears that word, they imagine a different thing. But we agree that there's a common underlying sort of definition that, it's generally, 4 to 6 feet high. It has chairs around it, but the color, the shape, and I think that's the same thing for our practices within Love Being Human and for our common understandings of courage. Until we each taste, feel, and experience what that is, then we don't know it. And so until we each, step away from that door and turn around and face it, we're just reading or we're just listening. And so I think the distinction in Love Being Human is in finding those personal practices, those distinctive moments where you're aware of your breath, or you come to an awareness of your body, maybe even as simple as its posture. If you are in fear, if you're not exhibiting courage, what posture are you in? Is your head lowered? Are your shoulders hunched in? Are you, holding yourself in protection? And then this is the harmony of this feeling in my body. And what, the tail wags the dog. What posture would I rather be in? So you stand up straight, you lift your chin, you square your shoulders, you bring up your chest, and then you feel for yourself if that changes for you, if it shifts just a tiny bit. I think that's, when I think about it, what brings me back and helps me fall so deeply in love with this, simple process, even though it's not easy, is that it's different for everyone. And that it's not a teaching that comes from me because I'm smart or because I know anything different or better than anyone else. It's because it's an invitation for each of us to go home and to experience it. And from that place, then we each will sort of feel it. And that's magic. That's a miracle.
I agree. That's beautiful, Vivian. And I think it takes courage and fear to have these conversations even. It's that step that we take, at least for me. It takes both. I have to be willing to express what comes from my heart and to put it out there and share it. And that can be fearful and courage both at the same time.
Exactly. It's sort of like a tingling, scary, but also exciting at the same time. Yeah. And going back to what you said, Rebecca, about, and what you and I have talked about, is moving forward despite fear. This product, the podcast, our actions of speaking to each other and to the world is exactly that. We don't know the outcome, but we trust that it will land softly on hearts that need it. And for those that don't, then they can move on. But yeah, I agree with you. And the dance between courage and fear is so much easier when you have a good dance partner. And you're a wonderful dance partner in this. So I just want to say thank you. Every chance that I have to express gratitude to you, I always try to.
Well, thank you, Vivian. I'm just happy to be here. And I'm learning something all the time. This has been fabulous for me to experience this with you. And I guess I think in closing, I really just want to thank everyone else for being with us here today. And to just say, if they enjoyed the conversation, that we invite them to connect with us by joining our inner circle at www.viviancarrasco.com. And to close with saying, remember, move with purpose and take inspired action.
Thank you for joining us today here on Turning Inward with Dr. Vivian. If the show moved the needle for you, please leave an honest review in iTunes. And also make sure you cruise on over to viviancarrasco.com and join us for personal strategies and tips to help you move forward. Ciao, baby.